Welcome back, everybody. Redoing bearings and seals on this old boat trailer today. Did a video earlier about really quickly replacing the one on this axle. In that video, I did not show the process of breaking this down, removing and replacing the races and replacing the back seal. So in this video, we're going to run over to the bench and we're going to show that process. If you're looking for one on replacing it on the spindle on your trailer, I will link that one right up above. But in terms of breaking this down, making this hub like new again, that's what this video is about. So let's run it over to the workbench and get to it. You could honestly do this entire thing with a claw hammer and a screwdriver like this if you don't have any of these tools. First thing, we're just going to disassemble, get these old bearings out of here. We'll throw those away. That's the front bearing on the seal. Hook in with this. Like I said, you can do this with a claw hammer. You can also, if you got a hammer or whatever on it and you can't get it out, you can take your screwdriver. I'll show you. You can take your screwdriver and bust it in and then pop it out. That works pretty easy, as you can see. And we're stuck to the bearing. There we go. Inner bearing, it's still got a little bit of decent grease, but man, that is nasty, all full of water. That one's been leaking for a while. Just to get all that nasty grease out of there. Hopefully you can see down in here now. All we're gonna do, I'll show you on this side. There's a little lip on the back side of these races. Same at the other end. I don't know how well you can see that through there. We're gonna take this rounded off screwdriver so we don't scratch the hub. Slide it right down the edge until we hit that. Then we're gonna take our hammer. I like a big hammer for this. It goes faster. You can use like a claw hammer. When you get it to this point, it's helpful if you just hold it at an angle like this so you're not driving into the workbench, and pop it right out. There's one race. The other one's right here, so we'll put that side down and do the exact same thing. All right, we got it nice and clean. We're going to reassemble. These raised parts here are the back. So that is where the seal will go. We'll go on the back here. So on this particular one, both races are the same size. If you have a little bit bigger trailer, you might have two different size races, but it'll be obvious. One will fit, one won't. Okay. And if you don't have one of these little race drivers, you can do a couple of things. Put this in here, hit it flat, with a board or whatever. You can use the old races to drive them in. Either shave this down so it doesn't get stuck, or what you can do is just take an angle grinder and make a cut in there. That way, after you hammer it down with this old race will just pop right back out. I have one of these little race driver kits. Super nice. Wasn't very expensive. I got it on Amazon for, I want to say it was right around 20 bucks, and it's super handy. So I would highly recommend that if you got 20 bucks laying around and you're going to do this a few times. And you'll be able to tell once you get it seated down in there flush with that inner hub lip. If you're not sure, you can kind of tilt it around. You won't be able to see it with that camera because I can't hardly see it with my eyes, or you can reach your finger in and feel around. We're good and flush there. Same thing, we'll just drive the other one while we're thinking of it. There we go, that one's in. Next thing we're going to do is pack this outer bearing with grease. Okay, we've got the grease loaded. Now there are two ways, well there's a couple ways you can do this. You can get one of these hand packers where the bearing sits down here. You screw this on. Bearing sits down in there. You got this circ fitting here. You squirt some in, and there you've got a fully packed bearing ready to go in your hub. I like to take a little bit of that extra grease that's in there, just put a little film around the race before I drop the bearing in. We'll clean up around where the seal is going to ride, just around the edge here. And there you go, we're ready to put the seal in. Now, if you don't want to get one of these, you can do this by hand. You put just a dollop of grease in your palm, and you just kind of press the grease into the bearing by pushing on the edge of that dollop. And you push it until the grease comes out, and then you rotate, grabbing a little bit till the grease comes out, rotate. Fairly standard process, just takes a little longer. This is really quick. So I like this, but if you're doing this for the first time, you don't have one of these, packing them by hand works just fine. People did that for a long time before somebody ever got lazy and came up with one of these. Okay, now let's drive our seal in. Pretty straightforward here. Set that in there nice and flush. Now you can, if you don't have one of these, you can use a block of wood. You can tap this around with the hammer to get it started. One of these drivers that I use for the races works real nice. You just take a little bit bigger size, drive it home just like that. And with that, guys, I mean, you're pretty much done. You've got your seal in. You got your other bearing to go in. You can see I already packed this one. Pull it out. Take a little bit of that extra. Put it on the race. And you are ready to put it on your trailer. Now, depending on what you are using for a hubcap on your trailer, it's not a bad idea to partially fill this hub with grease at this point. If you're using a bearing buddy or an Easy Lube type system, you'll do that. Once you have it on the trailer, you'll pump some grease into here that'll fill that cavity. You don't need to totally fill it. You can run it just like this, but I don't mind having some extra grease in that hub. That's kind of, there's kind of a level of grease in here that this is running through grease all the time, just to keep it from running dry. So I do like to keep them at least, if I weren't using a bearing buddy or Easy Lube where you're pumping it through a Zerk on the outside, I would fill this at least about halfway with grease. But other than that, take it over to your trailer, throw it on, you're ready to go fishing or haul something with your trailer, whatever you're doing, you're good to go.